Hello, my fellow peoples. Don't you wish you could build the most extreme thing in the world? Do you believe that you should build something in space that no one has ever built before except in movies? I know I want to. I want to build a Death Star. A big, giant Death Star. Yes. Kinda like a world, but not really a world. Be amazing. Be like living on a different planet, but made out of pieces of metal and technology of sliding doors and a giant green laser that could destroy buildings and make pieces fly through the air. Like, but the only problem would be that weird square-inch hole. We can figure that out later. Won't you want to build a Death Star? I know I would. I want to build a Death Star. But too bad the US decided not to build the Death Star. Bastards. I wanted a Death Star. First saw it in the news on Yahoo. I was like, yeah, Death Star. They should so build that. And now this year, found out they're not gonna make no Death Star. They're not gonna make a Death Star. Death Star? So I say, everyone, save up your money, and then we'll buy and make our own Death Star that only we can use. Nobody else. Which means the government. The government can't use our Death Star. It's ours. Our Death Star. We might not be able to make the laser, though. Because then the government would want it. But we can have our Death Star. Yes. Death Star. Death Star. Death Star. It's a trap. Death Star. Death Star. I don't know, I really want to make a Death Star. Just picture it. You're living in outer space. You got this giant view of all the planets and stars, and you're just this big metal planet ball thing, and you're like in space, and you're just mesmerized. And, you know, there'd be like schools there in space, and it'd be a bunch of fun stuff. Like we could add a holodeck from like Star Trek, you know. We can add a holodeck and we can like do stuff. Like if I wanted to be on a pirate ship, say in like the 18th century, I could. I'd be like, whoa. But the government won't build a Death Star. And they should have, because Death Star is awesome. And we'd be the only one that had it. Yeah. See, I mean, I bet you China thought about it after we said it in the news, and it was like, oh, if they don't go with it, we should make the Death Star. And maybe Russia even said it. We should make a Death Star. Everybody's like, we should make a Death Star. And then the US backed out of it, and they're like, oh, US backed out of it. That means we can make a Death Star before they do if they decide to redo it. And then they'll have a Death Star, and then we'll be like the only ones without Death Star. We'll be like, Death Star? Why? I want a Death Star. I want it now. They have one. All the countries do. I want a Death Star. Why won't you give me a Death Star, government? Why won't you give me a Death Star? Why won't you give me a fucking Death Star? That's my question. Why won't they? I mean, I didn't really read why they didn't build a Death Star, but I was upset that they didn't make one. I thought it would have been cool. I mean, you know, who wouldn't? You're in space. You're on a... You can see everything. Stars, planets. No pollution, really. You just be floating there. Be cool. But, it's a trap! Death Star.